Hey guys, it's Daniel here with a brand new video in an all new style, and I hope you guys really enjoy it. Now you're probably wondering why I'm doing this with a new style. It's because, remember when I got a microphone for Christmas? Well, I'm starting to use it here, although come think of it, if you think about it, it kind of sounds the same as I do whenever I make my videos, so if I can find a way, I'll probably try to make this a little better, but for now, it's pretty good. As many of you know, with the whole pandemic going on, the whole coronavirus, people have basically been watching lots of stuff on TV and online and all that stuff, myself included. I mean, I've been binge watching quite a few shows that I really love, like Stranger Things, which I plan to make a video on that very soon, and of course, in the moment, we are all watching WandaVision, so that sounds pretty cool. And one such show, while I was binge watching, is the Cartoon Network TV show based on the DC comic superhero team with the same name, Teen Titans. So I thought, you know what, before I talk about other stuff, I might as well just give my thoughts on Teen Titans. So, welcome to my review of the Cartoon Network series, Teen Titans. The plot of Teen Titans follows Batman's sidekick, Robin, as he builds his own superhero team called the Teen Titans, which include himself, Tamaranian Princess Starfire, half-human, half-machine Cyborg, other dimensional girl Raven, and comic relief cheeky character who can change into any animal he wants, Beast Boy. And basically, the show follows these 5 Teen Titans as they protect their city from evil while trying to get along as teenagers / roommates. And craziness, action, and also character development ensues. Now, this show has always had a little bit of a hook on me because I've been meaning to watch the whole show throughout the time. I keep trying over and over again to get through the show, but I only keep managing to finish the first season. So I never managed to finish the show, so I gave up on it for a while. But then, since the coronavirus thing, I've finally had some time to watch all the shows. I've finally watched all 5 seasons of Teen Titans, including the TV finale, Trouble in Tokyo. And after watching the whole show, I can honestly say I had a blast watching this show. It was such a great Cartoon Network show that reintroduced me to some of the superhero shows that I watched before. Can't remember what they were, but I honestly had a blast watching Teen Titans, and I cannot wait to talk about what I love about the show. Sure, it might not be the best animated TV show, but it's definitely one of the most memorable ones that I've ever seen. Animation in this show has a perfect mix of original Cartoon Network animation and anime, and honestly I think that these two genres blend smoothly together, and it makes the animation very worth noticing. The character designs are very fluid, energetic, and yet very crazy, and the backdrops, like the visual effects behind them, is definitely awesome as well, especially in season 4 when the apocalypse happens. That animation definitely looked bleak and yet pretty awesome. So yeah, animation, top notch. And going hand in hand with the animation is the action scenes. They were very intense, goofy, wacky, and yet very awesome to watch. The voice actors are definitely well picked for the roles. They've been playing their characters since the beginning of the show, and I still think that they are excellent to this day. Scott Menville is excellently brave and angry in some points as Robin. Walsh? Is that her name? The woman who voices Bubblegum in Adventure Time, she was sincere and cute as Starfire. Carrie Payton, I hope that's how you say his name, is awesomely buff as Cyborg. Greg Sipes is very cheeky and over the top as Beast Boy, and Tara Strong is excellently distant and very subtle as Raven. I also have to give loads of props to the voice actors for the villains, particularly Ron Perlman as Slade and Kevin Michael Richardson as Trigon. More of their characters a little later. There's also so many big name voice actors in the supporting cast of the villains as well. Like, we've got John DiMaggio, Bender himself, voicing Brother Blood. I thought he was excellent in that role. And plus Tom Kenny, SpongeBob himself, as Mombo the Magician.
Tell you what I'm gonna do. Guess which Titan is under here, and I'll give you your little friend back.
This show has a great mix of horror, action, mystery, comedy, and drama. Each of them are excellent in their own individual ways. The comedy is standout mainly in the show because I thought that this show was downright hilarious. It had me laughing so many times.
You're getting married?
Yeah, anyone we know?
Oh, I have never met him. My betrothed has been chosen for me by the Grand Ruler of Tamaran.
You're getting married? And to someone you've never met?
And I'm glad that this show doesn't go over the top with its comedy, unlike some other shows that we don't need to bring up, although come to think of it, I'll probably bring it up in the rest of the video, but we'll just have to get to that later when we get to that. And the drama is spectacular as well, because sometimes the show will make you feel sad. As you grow to love these characters, it feels sorry for them. Season 4 of Teen Titans is definitely when the series is at its best. But in some points, it's also where the series is at its worst. What do I mean by that? I'll get to that later. But the reason why it's at its best is because Raven's character arc throughout that season was very engaging as we learn more about her. And I'll discuss more about her later. But that was interesting. And plus, we get the introduction of one of the greatest villains in cartoon history. Her demonic father, Trigon. Oh my god, Trigon is definitely one of the most powerful and yet menacing villains I've ever seen in a cartoon series. I mean, the minute you see this guy, he is gigantic and he's so menacing with his red eyes as they gaze upon you, and he just talks in a very menacing and yet calm way, but when he wants to be menacing, he is excellent. I mean, the whole build-up throughout the 4th season, and when we finally get to Trigon, is excellent. I mean, yes, sure, we did see Trigon a little bit in one episode in Season 1, but that was just a little glitch in Raven's mind. But Season 4 is where Trigon is definitely at his most menacing. He is excellent. And since I just discussed Trigon, I now might as well talk about the characters, starting off with Batman's sidekick and partner, as well as the leader of the Teen Titans himself, Robin. Robin is the leader of the Teen Titans, like I said. He can get pushy with some characters, but within good reason. He does care about his team, but he can get strict with them once they get out of line or act stupid. And again, that was intentional because he does care about his team, but also has to be strict with them in order to do the right thing. Sure, he can get angry for less justified reasons, mainly his own faults, but he'll later admit that he's at fault too because he's the leader. And unlike the other Titans, he doesn't have any superpowers at all, but even with no superpowers, he's still one of, if not the most confident person on the team, as he has super martial arts skills, cool weapons, including batarangs, grappling hook, and an awesome extendable bow staff. I do like this character. He has some very awesome moments now and again. He can get pretty goofy sometimes, but also is very strict and brave. But his dark side, whenever he gets angry, is definitely when he's at his most fearsome, because we sometimes see very dark sides of Robin's character, particularly whenever he interacts or fights Slade, because Slade is basically some of the causes of some of Robin's problems. And you can see that this relationship is personal between the two. We get to see some very dark sides of Robin. So yeah, out of all the Robins I've seen, this might be the one that I will most likely remember, along with Michael Cera's Robin from the Lego Batman movie. Speaking of that, I also do kind of like how they don't directly tell us or make an entire episode about the fact that Robin was once Batman's partner. Because basically Robin now has his own team, and I can definitely see him leading her own team. But there's still a few little Easter eggs surrounding the Great Crusader that does sort of tell us that he used to be Batman's psychic, but doesn't directly tell us to the face. He is an important part of Robin's history, so it wouldn't be that fair if they just completely retconned and just said that Robin is just his own character from the beginning.
Hey, this isn't your town! Aren't you supposed to be with—
Just moved here, and from now on, I work alone.
Starfire is a Tamaranian princess who came from another planet to Earth and tries to learn more about her friend's culture, and it's this part of her character that makes her so endearing. Watching her trying to figure out more about her Earth's culture, be naive to the culture, as well as trying her best to keep the friends together and cares for the people that she loves. Out of all the team, she actually puts Robin above the rest of the Titans, as they have a very, very cute little romance with each other throughout the show that is building up until the end. It's this part of her character that makes her so lovable, and the bond between these two is just so lovable as well. They act so subtle about it, but then they start sort of addressing it at some points, and it's just so awesome watching them blush. It's just so damn cute.
How am I to know what you think about me?
Starfire. I think, it's awesome. The way you shoot starbolts.
Yes? And?
It's, also cool that you're brave and the strongest girl ever.
And you do not mind having a friend who is a girl?
Minded? I kind of...
Cyborg is a half-human, half-machine superhero. You'd expect him to be part of the Justice League, but they did kind of switch it around and made him a part of the Teen Titans, because he seems to be a bit of a teenager. His main concern is his half-human, half-robot persona, because while he does have a lot of fun being criminals with his high-tech and giving him bigger advantages with his high-tech, he does kind of miss his whole human persona. There are many episodes where it tests his half-robot, half-human character, especially whenever he has to get stronger. I especially loved his whole character arc in Season 3, and I think that his voice is definitely one of the most iconic voices ever for Cyborg.
I got the Sonic if you got the boom.
I especially like his whole catchphrase quote.
Oh yeah.
And just like Robin, he can sometimes get very angry and rageful around characters, but mainly when they're acting stupid or inconsiderate to him. He's kind of like Robin when he gets angry in that way, but he's more angry because he's the more buff, stronger guy on the group. And I think that's what makes him so relatable to Robin, and why he's an identifiable superhero in the DC universe. Raven is a demonic-powered girl who came to Earth to get away from her past. She does act distant from the other Titans, but it's clear that her distance is just a shield from terrible things in her past. And that's why, in my opinion, while she isn't the best out of the group, I will say she gets the best development out of the group. Because at first you really don't know that much about her. There's a little bit of a mystery to her surrounding why she's distant from her friends and what her past is like, and you just want to learn more about what makes her powers trigger and what is she hiding. You want to learn more about her. But it is kind of hard to not forgive her, because her powers are basically based on her emotions, whether she gets angry, and she has the power to telekinetically move stuff. It makes her so interesting as a character, because you just want to learn more about her, and plus, it's clear that her grumpiness, her shyness, and yet very timidness is definitely a shield for some deep-needed emotions, and you can tell that her emotions sometimes is out of love, because you can tell that she does care about her team. Sure, she can get angry and grumpy sometimes, but it is kind of hard to not get grumpy out of all this madness. And in my opinion, she gets the best development out of any character in the show. While she's not the best, she definitely has the best side story out of anyone in the show, especially in the 4th season. That's when her character gets to her most awesome, to finally stand up to her past. And I thought Tara Strong does a fantastic job adding to the whole shyness and yet grumpiness and yet a bit of comedicness as well. And plus, her angry side and her timid comedy does make for some of the show's most hilarious moments, and that's what makes her so interesting.
I don't know, Raven. That's kind of a good look for you.
Hold still.
Ow.
Then lastly, we have the comedic, animal shape-shifting goofball himself, Beast Boy. Now, Beast Boy mainly serves as the comic relief of the show, and honestly, I'm fine with him being the comic relief, because whenever there are dark situations, whenever there are problems, he does try to have a positive attitude. And he's probably the most relatable teenager, because he loves lots of things like TV, video games, breakfast, and just chilling around. He's definitely the most iconic teenager out of any Teen Titans, and that's what makes him so much fun. However, he's not just a very goofball. He's no comedy and no brain. He does have a bit of intelligence now and again, because he is still very serious in a lot of times, especially in Season 2 and in Season 5. Although, in Season 5 he does like a bit more goofy in Season 5, but he does grow up by the end of Season 5. So yeah, I really like his character. He's definitely the most entertaining out of all the Titans. And that's not even touching on the fact that these 5 Titans have undeniable chemistry with each other. Yes, they can argue. Yes, they can get into disagreements. But at the end of the day, they're not just workmates, they're best friends. They love hanging out with each other and enjoying people's company. They can annoy each other, but in the day, they're still like a group of friends wanting to have fun and fight crime. However, if I had to talk about the most highlighted character in the show for me, and in my opinion the most interesting character in the show, that honestly has to be the show's main antagonist, Slade. Wow! This is such a great villain. I mean, no other villain in Teen Titans could ever beat him. I mean, Trigon, he came close, but he's definitely no more recognizable than Slade. Slade is the golden chamber of the villains in Teen Titans, and in my opinion, I think he might be my favourite character in the show. When we start off meeting him, he hides in a chair, waiting for the right opportunity to strike. We don't know much about his appearance or what he's up to. We love to learn more about his character and why he's doing what he is doing. And then when we finally see him in his full form, wow, he looks awesome in that mask. Many people might know him as Deathstroke, but in Teen Titans they only just call him Slade. And whenever I see Deathstroke on posters or pictures, I ended up calling him Slade by accident, because this is basically where I got the name from. But still, he makes for a very awesome villain. He's powerful, he's menacing, he's very subtle about his plans, but also he's clever as a villain because he makes the right decisions that he feels like he needs to do in order to accomplish his goals. Especially in Season 4, when he gets betrayed, and so he makes a very unlikely choice, but he knows that it's clever enough to get his revenge. And plus, one of the most memorable parts of Slade's character is his relationship with the Titans, mainly Robin. Robin is basically Slade's true arch nemesis, because he's basically teasing the boy wonder in Season 1 into succeeding with his fighting skills. It makes him so subtle and clever as a villain that we ended up hating him sometimes, but at the same time, he's such a hateable, lovable villain at the same time, because we get so intrigued by him, and he's definitely one of the most menacing characters in a cartoon show I have ever seen. When I saw Teen Titans go to the movies, and I saw Slade in that movie, I was like, yeah, I don't think that the original Slade is going to beat Will Arnett's Slade. But I was taken by surprise. I loved this villain. He's such a memorable villain. And Ron Perlman, you own the voice for Slade very well. He is excellent.
If you join me, if you swear to serve me, if you never speak to your friends again, I will allow them to live. But if you disobey even the smallest request, I will annihilate them, Robin, and I'll make you watch.
Now, did I have some problems with Teen Titans? Yes, I did. In my opinion, the biggest issue with the show, and you might disagree with me in some points, is actually the show's use of filler episodes. And what I mean by that is, whenever each story in each season is getting more and more interesting, it comes to a screeching halt so that these random episodes can just play. It's most evident in Season 4. Why? Well, because Season 4 is definitely where the show is at its most interesting. It had a very interesting story being told with Raven and her demonic personality, and then it just keeps coming to a halt with filler episodes that don't really play a huge part in the story. And I just feel like these filler episodes just feel like a bit of a waste of time when it should be focusing on each story of each season. Now, some of these filler episodes, they're good, but at the same time they also just detract from the story. Another problem I had is actually with some of the villains. Now, many of the villains are fantastic, but some villains do feel a bit disappointing, especially the villains in Season 3 and Season 5. Let's first talk about the main villain in Season 3, Brother Blood. I honestly didn't find Brother Blood to be that interesting of a villain. Yes, he is a effective threat for Cyborg. I did want him to take down Brother Blood because he just seems so hateful in showing how strong he is, and he's just like so arrogant. And plus, I found his transformation to becoming more like Cyborg to be pretty intimidating. But besides that, there's just nothing that interesting about Brother Blood as a villain. I mean, yes, John DiMaggio is fantastic in the role. He gives his character a more edgy feel to it. But overall, Blood just became a very generic, money-hungry bad guy wanting power. But at least he's not that big of a disappointment compared to the villain in Season 5, Brain. Talk about an underwhelming main antagonist. He's mainly just a can with a skull spray painted on him and a brain. That's why he's called Brain, of course. But he doesn't really do anything in Season 5 besides sitting around, showing up now and again, making a bit of threat to the heroes, and talking about world domination. But he's just mainly sitting around and often needs the help of a giant ape to help him get around. He's just too underwhelming and too useless. I mean, after watching Trigon and Slade, while I watch Brain as the main villain of Season 5, I'm like, really? This guy? Because I never felt like he could either hold a candle to Slade or Trigon, or he's a good villain worth following after his first introduction. He's just too underwhelming, and kind of going hand in hand with the villain of the 5th season. I will admit that the 5th season does have many disappointing elements. Sure, it does have some of the best elements, like character development for Beast Boy, the epic final battle, and many awesome episodes, including that origin episode, which might be my favourite episode of the 5th season. But it also had the most disappointing villain in the season, and also one of the most disappointing finales in any show ever. I mean, the finale just ends so abruptly that we never even got a fully realised conclusion for the 5th and final season. I mean, sure, we did get a movie after the 5th season that wrapped up many elements, but besides that, we didn't get much resolution for the 5th season, or for something into Season 2, because basically this finale is meant to give some closure to this one character who was a big character in Season 2, and then that character just was gone. But I wish they could have given them some more resolution. However, despite those problems, I still had a blast watching Teen Titans. It definitely is one of those shows that I really enjoyed watching throughout quarantine. It has, like, cool action sequences, awesome animation, great voice acting, fun characters, one of the best villains in cartoon history, and it's just an overall great TV show. Now, this TV show got a satire later on called Teen Titans Go, which is a more comedic take on the characters. And while Teen Titans Go isn't that bad of a show, I can totally understand why people, especially fans of the original TV show, would not like it, because it's a slap in the face to those characters. However, they are kind of funny, but I personally really love Teen Titans, and I will give it a really high 4 out of 5. I was give it a 4.5 out of 5, but because they had so many filler episodes, I can't really give it a 4.5 out of 5, so I just give it a 4 out of 5. But I still love the show, and I would go to watch it again. But anyway, what do you think of Teen Titans? Do you love it? Do you hate it? And who's your favourite character in the show? Let me know in the comment section below. I promise I will get more videos done. I hope you do like this new style. And I'm Daniel, review movies, TV shows, doing videos. Subscribe, share, like, bell notifications. Peace out, man. Teen Titans Go!